Wow, does that place look familiar to you at all? Yeah, Sonic, as previously established, we're traveling through famous locations from our past with the aid of our younger selves in an effort to unravel an incredibly obvious mystery. Sounds good to me! Everyone cool if we leave it at that and say nothing of importance for the next 5 hours? This game's plot is basically the same thing as Sonic Force's level design. They just walk in a straight line until it ends. Literally. That's all they do. They hardly talk about the locations they restore. In fact, they only talk from one of these locations once. Then their friends get a passing glance, some cute dialogue exchanges, and then they all put their voices on repeat and go hang out in the Sega break room while Sonic and Sonic take care of business. The story doesn't really change my opinion of the game as a whole. It's still the best 3D Sonic game we've had in the past 9 years, but wouldn't it be a huge bonus if the plot was good too? Like, it wouldn't even have to change that much for it to become leagues better. Though I guess what I have prepared for you today might be pretty different from what we usually have. Though there isn't much usually there, so technically anything is a huge change. But no more exposition, let's do this. Also, if you like this, feel free to check out Motobug Episode 1. It's basically a story series like this, except it's animated. That's pretty cool. Much like in the original game, the story begins with Sonic's friends gathered to celebrate his birthday. The group is just able to pull everything together in time as Sonic bursts onto the scene, causing a gust of wind that knocks over some plastic cups and sends some balloons floating off into the sky. The gang jumps back to reveal Sonic's birthday cake, and he is really surprised that he never caught wind of their plan. The gang unanimously agrees that it was really simple because he doesn't have that good of an attention span, which allowed them to plan practically right in front of him without noticing. Sonic denies this sheepishly as the others walk away from the cake to mingle with each other as the festivities begin. The camera then pulls back from the scene a bit, and it's revealed that someone has been watching this take place on a monitor. That person, of course, being Dr. Eggman. The doc slams his fist down on his desk and spins around in his chair, holding his head up with one hand. Orbot and Cubot approach from the shadows of the lab, hesitant to interact with their boss while he's in one of his moods. Dr. Eggman, however, doesn't give them a chance to speak as he stands up and strides over to a large containment field that's housing a mass of purple and black smoke.
Boss, you wouldn't happen to be sulking because they're all celebrating Sonic's birthday, not yours, would you?
Eggman whirls around, suddenly huffing and puffing after hearing his lackey say what was very obviously bothering him. As if I care that blue nuisance and his irritating friends are having a party without me. My birthday is of no concern to anyone but myself and Mama Robotnik.
Yeah, I still haven't seen a card from her in the mail either.
That's clearly the fault of the mail system and not her. Eggman begins punching in some commands to the keypad at the base of the containment field.
If you went over there in peace, I'm sure they'd let you hang around. It's not like you and Sonic haven't played nice before.
I don't want to celebrate that brat's birthday with him. In fact, if what I'm working on right now yields the results I'm expecting, he won't be celebrating a birthday ever again, whether it be his or mine. Eggman laughs to himself and continues clacking away on the keypad as Orbot and Cubot shrug off the doctor's hysteria and float off. Quick note on one thing before we go any further, this whole birthday thing. In the context of this story, Sonic and Eggman share a birthday because of the release of Sonic 1, but that doesn't mean they're the same age. They were born years apart, obviously, but I just wanted to keep their shared birthday in some capacity because of what I have planned for the story. After Eggman finishes typing a veritable thesis of code into his machine, he plants his hands softly on the glass and observes the contents. The purple smoke gathers at the top of the chamber as the destroyed body of a Motobug clangs onto the floor from a panel on one of the sides. After some hesitation, the purple smoke lowers itself to the level of the broken machine, and then it surrounds it. Minutes pass before the smoke changes hue slightly and then lifts itself up, revealing a functioning Motobug. Eyes cloudy and purple instead of the usual white. Eggman's own eyes light up in excitement as he calls the small bot out of the chamber, carefully making sure not to release the smoke contained inside. As Eggman looks over the Motobug, he locates the plate he was searching for. A flashback of him carving his name crudely into the side of the badnik plays, and then as it dissipates, the scene rests on the same panel from before, except the name is no longer carved into it. Ho! I've done it! Using that primordial energy I found while drifting through space, I've actually managed to harness the power of time manipulation! He turns back to the monitor showing Sonic's birthday party progressing as normal. Amy attempts to hug Sonic, but he holds her off as he enjoys a conversation with Knuckles. Eggman makes his way back to his chair and spins around to face the screen once more, neglecting the newly reformed Motobug. The purple smoke presses itself against the glass, and the Motobug stands at attention. It It quietly rolls towards the console Eggman was messing with just moments before, and raises its scythe-like arms and crashes them down, piercing the machine. Sirens blare and Eggman's lab is bathed in an eerie red glow. He nearly chokes on the drink he poured for himself in celebration and turns around just in time to see the smoke pouring out of the containment field. Eggman rushes to it to try and fix it, but can't since the console's been destroyed. The smoke envelops the Motobug and several other contraptions around Eggman's base before swirling around and reforming as what we all recognize as the Time Eater, except in its more mechanical form as seen at the end of the original game. The camera turns to focus on Eggman's face. The entire room is engulfed in a white light as he screams, but that too is slowly muffled as it fades out. What follows is pretty much the exact same scene from the original game, where Time Eater appears and kidnaps all of Sonic's friends, and then it ends with Sonic getting knocked unconscious. When the scene fades back in from the whiteness, Dr. Eggman is lying face down in the grass in a very familiar location. He lifts himself up and looks around, unsure of why he's suddenly taking a cat nap somewhere other than his sofa. After looking around and not seeing Orbot or Cubot anywhere, he worriedly walks down the path until he comes across a sight for sore eyes. How lucky is that? It's his Eggmobile! The doctor happily examines it and without further questions jumps inside and it roars to life. Now feeling more confident, he zooms off to parts unknown. As he vanishes over the horizon, a familiar jump sound is heard and a pair of shoes land directly in front of the camera as the figure appears in the direction the doctor fled. This is where Green Hill Zone Act 1 begins. You'll play through the level as normal until it ends. Classic Sonic runs by the Robotnik goal pole just in time to see the doctor's hovercraft coming to a halt in a clearing by some floating platforms. I'm sure you can see where this is going. Classic Sonic leaps into the air and strikes the side of the Eggmobile. It shakes violently, letting out that classic damage noise as well, and almost throwing Eggman out of it. He turns around angrily and stares down at the hedgehog below. Of course you'd be here too. Well, unluckily for you, I'm always prepared, even if I don't remember doing the preparing. He presses a button and the wrecking ball falls from the Eggmobile into the ground. Ah, an oldie but a goodie. Boss battle number 1, Egg Wrecking Ball. Don't expect it to be very different or difficult. It's purely a throwback boss. Hooray. Eggman's wrecking ball is destroyed, as is his Eggmobile. He crawls away from the flaming wreckage, coughing and cursing Sonic's name. Curse you, Sonic! If I'd had more time to perfect my latest scheme, this little game of ours would be over! My countless defeats would mean nothing, because you'd be nothing! He angrily pulls on his mustache, stamping his foot into the dirt. Classic Sonic looks up at him with a confused expression and tilts his head. Eggman stops throwing his temper tantrum and looks down at his nemesis. Weren't you a little bit taller, and bluer, and louder? Something's wrong. You haven't even insulted my mustache yet. Classic Sonic pantomimes plucking at a mustache on his own face and smiles. Significant lack of bald comments as well. Classic Sonic shrugs. Eggman looks further off into the distance. He turns his attention to his wrecked Eggmobile, and then to the smaller mute Sonic before him, flashing back to his last moments at the lab. His mustache droops as the realization hits. There is a small chance that I might have brought upon the destruction of this universe. Elsewhere, modern Sonic wakes up, and we're just gonna call him Sonic from now on, and he tries to recall what just happened, but he's having a little bit of trouble remembering the exact order of events. He mostly just knows that something is wrong. Around him is the familiar landscape of Green Hill Zone, but his friends are all gone, so he stands up and runs off. Green Hill Zone Act 2, hooray. The next scene starts on some bushes that are rustling. Robotnik's head pops out after a few seconds. He's looking grumpy. I must be getting old. White flashes on my vision, gaps in my memory, misplacing things. A flash of blue suddenly knocks him backwards into the bushes, only his legs can be seen flailing around. As he vocalizes his anger, Sonic pops back into view, realizing he blindsided someone. It takes practically all his strength to dislodge the angry stranger from his foliage prison, but Robotnik drops out of the bushes and bounces to the ground in front of Sonic. Robotnik winces in irritation as a gloved hand reaches down to help him up. Hey, sorry about that. Sometimes it's hard to see where I'm going. Robotnik swats his hand away and gets to his feet. He stares the creature before him in the eyes, whatever, and gives Sonic a chance to do the same. They both leap back in surprise. Sonic gets ready to rumble. I knew this had something to do with you. You can't even let me be on my birthday, can you, Chrome Dome? Chrome Dome? How dare you make light of the great genius, Dr. Robotnik? Oh boy, you digging that one up again? It doesn't matter. Whatever you call yourself, you're still gonna release my friends, and you're still gonna lose, like always. Robotnik steps back, hesitating. What, you're not gonna call me a rat? Where's that evil laugh that turns into a cough? You're saying a lot of things very quickly. I need time to process. Sonic looks Robotnik over for a moment. Weren't you a little bit taller? Oh, save it, rodent. We've got bigger things to worry about. Sonic and Robotnik's eyes go wide, and they turn around to see Dr. Eggman and Classic Sonic strolling towards them. Sonic frantically looks from Robotnik to Eggman to Classic Sonic before staring blankly at the ground. As much as I love seeing that brainless look on your face, let me offer a quick explanation. You might have noticed that these two bear a striking resemblance to us. Robotnik can be seen in the background gawking at his future self. Classic Sonic walks into the picture and squints at his foe. The two remain locked in a staring contest of sorts as Eggman continues. That's because they are us. Specifically us, from a much earlier point in our history. What? That's impossible! Why would they be here? And more importantly, why should I believe anything you say? Oh, you're right, I just wanted an excuse to come and talk to you a little bit. What, do you not enjoy our little chats as much as I do? Hedgehog, if this was literally any other time, you'd be mincemeat right now. You can't mince what you can't catch, Baldy McNosehair. God, I hate saying that, but it's in character. So, Eggman gestures to Classic Sonic. God, I miss the days where you kept that mouth of yours shut. Alright, fine. Let's say I believe you. Why did this happen? I might have accidentally messed with forces that I thought I could control, but were slightly out of my pay grade. Namely, time manipulation. Ah, so the brilliant doctor can admit his mistake. That's a new one. You are not listening. This situation is so much bigger than you or me, or them. He waves his hand at their past selves. I was programming this power to rewind specific things, but since it freed itself, I fear that it's messing with time on a much grander scale. So on a scale from Wrecking Ball to Dark Gaia, how does this measure up? I don't believe I can quantify just how bad this is on such a crude scale. Alright, well, why don't we just round up the Chaos Emeralds real quick, and then we can call it a day, like always. Seeing as how we were dropped here, the Chaos Emeralds could be anywhere, and any when. Our chances of finding all 7 emeralds in this time period are slim to none. If I may butt in. The two longtime adversaries look to the shorter scientist. You two say you come from the future, yes? Then why not employ the same method used to get here to travel to other times in order to locate the emeralds? It's not that simple. We were dragged here against our wills by that time eater. Well, could it be possible that since it is an unstable entity that it may leave traces of its power wherever it travels? Perhaps the residual energy from this time eater could be exploited to give chase. Could that work? Yes, I think it could. I can't believe I didn't consider that. Well, I guess I did, technically. Then it's settled. I'll take me, and we'll go look around for this time eater residue. Meanwhile, you two eggheads get cracking on a way to use it. Sonic gives his classic self a fist bump before he walks up to the Eggman. If this really is as serious as you're making it out to be, I'll trust you to help fix it. But if you pull anything, I'll be right here to stop it. Eggman looks down at the hand before squatting down slightly to meet him at eye level. It makes me sick having to do this, but I have no choice. I'm not crazy enough to throw away an entire universe over a petty rivalry. The scene ends focused on the two adversaries shaking hands as Robotnik and Classic Sonic watch from the sidelines. In the next scene, Sonic and Classic are running through Green Hill Zone together. Sonic slides under a log, obstructing his path. Classic follows that up by rolling beneath a rock pile and popping out on the other side. Sonic leaps into the air and homing attacks a chain of buzz bombers and poses in midair before flashing a quick smile at his younger self upon landing on the other side of the pit. Classic follows suit by simply bouncing on a single badnik, uncurling for a moment to shrug smugly in the air, recurling and then landing beside his future self, giving him a thumbs up and a wink. You're me, alright. Looking at you almost feels like I'm looking in a mirror. Classic puts his hand over his head as if to measure his height, and then stands on his toes and raises his hand higher, almost to Sonic's height. Yeah, you're right. Maybe more like a funhouse mirror. An earthquake catches both of them off guard. Sonic loses his footing and almost plummets into the pit beside them, but Classic grabs his hand and stabilizes him. The two hedgehogs see a cloud of purple smoke emerge from a nearby totem pole, and it surrounds the two of them, swirling like a vortex. Sonic nods to his past self in appreciation and smiles. Follow my lead, okay? Sonic begins running in the opposite direction of the swirling purple energy. If that's how you want to play, you should at least know who you're dealing with. Classic joins his future self in his efforts to combat the vortex. We're Sonic! Sonic the Hedgehog! The two accelerate and Tornado disappears. The Sonic's fist bump as the time meter slowly begins to reform, but instead of taking on its original form, it shrinks into nothingness, leaving behind what looks like a small red metal plate that begins radiating a ghastly purple energy. Ha! That wasn't too much trouble. Heck, I'm not even winded. Sonic walks forwards towards the artifact. And it looks like we got what we came for. What do you say we head back to our friends back there and see how they're doing? If they weren't already scrambling to fix all this, they sure will be when we get back with this thing in record time. Classic covers his mouth and silently laughs at Sonic's joke. Sonic picks up the plate and the two head back off towards the doctors. The Sonics arrive back where they left the doctors, and conveniently, they are just about done constructing some sort of handheld device using spare parts from the trashed Eggmobile from before.
Welcome back, rats. Took you longer than I expected to do your half of the work.
That's big talk for someone holding a glorified Nerf gun. Does that thing even work?
Ah, yes, of course. It works very well without the one thing we need to power it.
Slightly embarrassed, Sonic rolls his eyes and tosses Eggman the mysterious plate from before. Your brilliant creation tried to pull a fast one on us, but fortunately, we excel at fast. It ended up dropping that when it ran away. Robotnik looks over the plate excitedly.
Ooh, this looks like it'll do the trick. I was worried you two would find some way to screw this up, but you've surpassed my expectations. Nice work.
Sonic doesn't look like he's willing to take a compliment from Robotnik, but he gives him a hesitant thumbs up regardless while scratching his head. Classic mimics him exactly except without the hesitancy.
Don't compliment those boost-happy boneheads. We're working with them, but we don't and should not like it. You seem really jaded, Doctor. If you let your anger cloud your mind, it will be much harder to accomplish our goals.
Eggman grits his teeth in his fist, but loosens up in size. He takes the device from his younger self's hands, and after securing the plate within the chamber above the barrel, he points it at the pathway behind the Sonics and fires it. The special ring sound effect echoes through Green Hill Zone as a large ring appears. Within its center, a hazy image of chemical plant can be seen.
It's always rings with you, isn't it?
Me? Are you saying that you're not the one dropping those things all over the place?
Why would I actively aid in your survival like that? Do you remember seeing any rings when you fought my Death Egg robot for the first time?
Hold on, my entire worldview is collapsing right now. Are you saying that those things are a natural phenomenon? The hedgehog and the scientist share a moment of confusion over this, but they both shrug it off and head towards the portal. Robotnik and Classic follow their lead, and soon the party of four vanishes into the portal they created. The scene lingers on Green Hill Zone for a moment afterwards as the color slowly begins to fade away. Water stops rushing, the clouds stop moving, even the badniks become frozen in place. And finally, the gate the quartet escaped with is sapped of all its energy and ceases rotation. Green Hill Zone is now devoid of life and color, with our heroes none the wiser. Raise your hand if you like cliffhangers. I'm sorry, I don't, but this wasn't supposed to be a new ongoing series, but it's very long already, and there's still a lot more. Next time, we'll return with the adventures through Chemical Plant and possibly beyond, depending on how long that takes. So if you liked this video and you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe, click the bell, follow my Twitter, and join the Discord to keep up with more Sonic rewrites and other things that aren't Sonic rewrites, because I do a lot of things. I'd also like to give a huge thank you to my current supporters who are Gamer Fanatico 123, Raiden Still Plays, Chaotic Mercenary, Cosmic Mushroom, Ty Little Tech Guy, Silva PhD, Jaded Indolent, Jeremy, Lucas Tallman, Mega Trafficone, Crystal, and Mike TGC. Also, huge thank you to Rob Morrison on Patreon, and everyone else who's supporting me in the $1 tier. Remember, if you want to become a sponsor and have your name read out here, please go on, click the join button beneath the video, and you can check out all the perks you get, such as exclusive videos and more. If you made it this far in the video, please tell me down below what you think might happen next, and I will see you guys next time.